Well, good evening. It's about, I don't know, about 7:15 or so on Wednesday evening, November the 4th. I had a eye appointment today. They injected my eye, so I have a big bowling ball down on my right eye where I can see it floating around in there. It'll go away by in the morning. I guess my thought this evening for our study is I just want to give someone some advice. If y'all have been tuned in for a while, you know where my heart is. You know my heart is, and my heart is the desire to see people know the Lord. I wrote some stuff down on a piece of paper, some thoughts, some quick thoughts that came to my head. And I think I can start out this way. If you don't know Jesus, you better know Jesus. If you don't know Jesus, you better know Jesus. You better be open-minded about that subject. If you're not open-minded about Jesus Christ, then you need to be open-minded. You need to have a very clear mind. These things that I wrote down, you need to be aware. You need to be aware. You need to be aware of the danger if you don't know Jesus Christ. We're living in a troubled world tonight. I'm not talking about just the election and whether Trump won't be president or whether Trump will fight it to continue. I believe it goes deeper than that. I believe we're living in a time that is waxing worse and worse. The Bible even tells us that it's waxing worse and worse. You know, you don't get wax buildup in your ear overnight. You get wax buildup from a period of time of allowing that wax to build up to the point that it can even clog your ear. There's a lot of people that are living in the day of wax buildup. You need to be aware. You need to be willing to understand that God just didn't waste his time. He wants you to understand what he's saying and what he's doing in the season that we're in right now. He wants you to be open-minded. He wants you to be aware. He wants you to understand. Understanding is one of the most beneficial things that you could have today, is understanding. You need to be concerned. You need to be concerned for your own soul. If you're out here tonight and you don't really know why you tuned in, then maybe, just maybe you will understand why you need to be concerned. Because time is drawing nigh. Time is getting to the point of being close. There's a lot of what ifs. What if I should die? What's going to happen if I died? What's going to happen if part of my family dies? The what ifs. What if the economy goes south? What if the election is totally backwards? There's so many things that the what ifs can apply to. The what ifs. You know, one of the things that I believe that I'm talking to someone that might not know is, what if there is a God? What are you going to do? If you're not open-minded, if you're not aware, if you're willing to not be concerned about understanding and a lack of concern, then the what if sort of kick in. What if there is a God? What if you're telling yourself, oh, I don't believe in this God thing. Well, what if there is a God? Just ask yourself, what if there is a God? Here's a question that I think that could go along with that. Why would he love me? Why would God love me? Well, the reason he loves you is because the Word of God says that he loves you. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. See, he loved man before man was ever born. Before the first human being was on the planet, Adam and Eve, God loved them. He didn't like their sin, but he loved them. Why would he love me? You might want to ask yourself, why am I special? Well, he only made one of you. He didn't make multiples of me. I could go all around the world. I might find people that look like me, that might act like me, that might sound like me, that might act in ways like me, but it won't be me. It'll be somebody else, because God only made one of me. He only made one of you. You think of something that he treasures an absolute best. If you only have one of that treasure, look how much treasure he values that treasure to be. Why would he love me? He does love man. He cares enough to send somebody like me to come out here and get on the video and make a video. Why would he want me? Well, you know, I believe that his desire is that he wants all man to know him. He wants every human being to know him. Why would he want you? It's because you are a treasure to him. And he would want you for the sheer fact that he only made one of you. And in his eyes, you are special. to him. Now, you might go and think, oh, yeah, right, I really believe that. Well, you have to remember what I said at the very beginning of the message. You got to understand. Let me reread what I wrote down. You better know Jesus. You better be open-minded. You better be aware. You better be willing to understand. You better be concerned because of the what ifs. What if there is a God? I can assure you there is a God. The Bible says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I don't have no notes other than the questions that I wrote down here on this paper. Why would he love me? Why would he want me? He wants you because he loves you and because you're special to him. But you got to remember, Satan don't want you knowing that. Satan wants you to be a lot like myself today. He wants you to look down under yourself and look at that floater that is floating in my eye right now. I can see it. When I raise my eye up, it looks like a round black dot. It's in a circle. And you know what? Satan's job is to keep floaters in our spiritual eyes so that we're looking at that floater more than we're looking at reality. See, that floater will go away after about in the morning. But Satan has floaters in men's eyes because they don't know Jesus. They don't know who Jesus is. Why would he want me? Because he wants me to sing praises to him. He wants me to share my testimony. He wants me to tell people there's hope in this world. I'm glad on November the 4th, I'm glad that I have hope. I certainly do not have hope in Joe Biden. I don't even have hope in Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a man. Joe Biden is a man. I don't have real confidence in Donald Trump. Now, do I believe he is someone that cares about life? Yes. I believe he has done a good job for this nation. His legacy will be very strong when he leaves office. People will still hate him, regardless of whether he's president or not. People still going to hate him. You know why? Because they jealous of him. So it ain't about politics tonight. It's about you better know Jesus. You better know who he is. Why would he want me? He went to a lot of trouble to come to the cross to want you. Why would he send his son to die? See, his son was the payment. God had to have a payment. That there had to be a payment for people to be able to believe in the Lord, to be able to get the Lord's heritage on their life. And see, God sent his son to be man's payment. God made the payment that God required. God sent his own son as the payment for you and for me. He shed his red blood for me. Could that be the reason I got on a red shirt? I don't know. That red crimson blood that died on a wooden cross to save somebody like me is the same Christ that died on a wooden cross to save you. But now, like I said, you have to accept that. You have to believe that he did. Why would he send his son to die? He was the only way that God could be able to accept human beings where he is. God had to send his son to be the payment so that you and I could believe in him and that we could go to heaven. Why would he suffer? Because that was part of the payment. How many people do you know that would suffer for you, that would step in your place? Wherever the hardest place you've ever been, would someone be willing to stand in your place for you? That's what Jesus did. God knew that if we died ourselves, that wouldn't mean anything to God. We could die and lose our life, and that wouldn't really mean anything to God, because our blood wasn't perfect blood. Jesus's blood was perfect blood that went to the cross and died. That's the reason why would he suffer. He suffered on that cross to pay that full payment in full. Why would he ask you to hear? You know, the Bible talks about in John chapter 5, in verse 24, there's two words that stand out in that verse. He tells you to hear the gospel. The gospel is the death, burial, and resurrection. He lived. He died on a cross. They put him in a grave. He stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. God raised him from the dead so that he could return to heaven and prepare mansions for the people that believe in him. So the reason that he asked you to believe in him is that is our way of going to where he is. See, when the Lord comes back, he's going to come back for the church. If Donald Trump happens to lose his job, the Lord could come back before the next man is inaugurated president. That's just a fact. And it won't blow my mind one bit. Because God is watching the corruption. He's watching all the garbage that is going on. He's been watching all the garbage for 4 years now. Oh, he's been watching the garbage. You can count on it. Nothing gets past God. Nothing. Me, you, anybody else, nothing gets past God. Why would he ask you to hear? Well, so far I've been speaking now about 15 minutes. Why would he ask you to hear what I've been saying? I can tell you why. Because he wants you to hear the gospel. He wants you to believe the gospel. That verse talked about hearing. And it talked about believing and believing in the Son of God. That's what gives you and I salvation. Without salvation, we don't get what we need to make it to glory and make it to heaven. You better know Jesus. You better know Jesus. I hope that you do know him. If I can help you in any way, elderlyministry.com. Look me up. Pull the tab down from the website. You'll find the phone number. Leave a message, please. I would love to talk with anybody, but you need to leave a message so I know to return your call. I hope this meant something to you today. There's a lot of lonely people hurting today. They got their hopes in the election. The election ain't the answer. Your election of Jesus Christ is the answer. Thank y'all for listening.